Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and with the kingdom at peace, we're going to start today's episode by handing out some court positions. We saw recently that the position of court musician was vacated when the previous holder, Cailleach Fineen, murdered our brother, Dinartuch, which is kind of one of the reasons why we have part of Scotland now. I haven't forgotten about her. There's not much we can do at the moment, but I haven't forgotten about her. We'll be dealing with Cailleach Fineen later on. For now, we will appoint our daughter, the wife of the son of the former King of Aquitaine. So we were hoping that one day our daughter would rule as Queen of Aquitaine. Her father-in-law was deposed. He's not very happy with us at the moment. Has he stopped being irritated? No. So his brother seized the throne from him, but I don't think he's going to have any children, so it's just going to come back to him anyway. So he might end up back in charge. We mightn't have to do anything. Tufla, you poor old thing. Play some music. Now, it might make sense to appoint a cupbearer as well, but if we do that in conjunction with a royal architect, it'll knock us below 3 gold income per month, so I want to kind of keep it above that number. I'm just going to appoint a royal architect, and I think we'll go with somebody that was vassalized in the last episode to complete the ring around the King of Scotland. Mairead Mac Gillicreast hates us. She is... how's her health? That's fine. It's fine. We could put Arthur there, but you know what? He's young. He'll have his chance yet. So we will appoint Mairead to help us with our expansion of Downpatrick. And of course, for now, there is absolutely nothing that Mairead can do in Downpatrick. We are built up to the hilt. We are waiting, I think, 3 years for the battlements innovation to come true, which will allow us to construct a keep. So for now, we're going to come to the Bishopric of Slemish, and I think we will expand the library. So a bit more tax income and a bit more piety. Then we are going to move down to the empty Barony of Bangor and begin construction of a castle. And finally, to celebrate our new construction projects, our return from a pilgrimage, and the peace and stability that now reigns in the kingdom, we will host a grand feast. And just while we're waiting for those invites to be sent out, this absolutely breaks my heart. I was planning on divorcing or executing my incestuous, adulterous wife, the ex-wife of our brother, Gillicomon, the widow of our brother. But with the way so many alliances fell apart in the last few episodes, we can't negotiate an alliance with our grandson in Brittany. Our alliance in the Kingdom of Aquitaine has collapsed. We had to... let's not even talk about Galicia. Let's forget about that. So we're kind of dependent on this guy now. The Duke of Aquitaine, our brother-in-law. So unfortunately, as much as it breaks my heart, we're going to negotiate an alliance. A cheery gathering. I'd say if there's plenty drink, you'll be happy. And no doubt, people like Muel Brazil Kunon will be plying the High King with alcohol. Welcome, friends. We can see there that our alliance with the Duke of Aquitaine has been secured. There is his sister, our wife, on the right-hand side. I have barely managed to sit down on my seat when I hear a howl emanating from the High Queen. What's she doing now? It would seem she and Mayor Serla, so this is the wife of Congus, who died in the last episode from his wounds. the mayor of Carrickfergus, and she has replaced him. They've really gotten into it. And our wife is receiving a proper woman handling. Too late. I realise their martial dance has paved its way straight through the Dál Fiatach house banner. I think this became a masterwork. Of recent it did. I motion for my guards to separate the two, hissing and clawing at each other. The duo is presented in front of me, all the while throwing blame at one another for starting the fight. I see lots of opportunities for stress, and one because we are zealous to decrease stress. Tuatha has started hammering on the strings on all the musical instruments to try and drown out the noise of the two here fighting. It's not as bad as I thought. I thought they were going to have wrecked the Dál Fiatach house banner utterly. We gain 20 opinion with both of them, grow closer to forming a friendship, gain 100 piety, lose some stress because we're zealous. The durability of the banner goes down by 10, that's all. So we could demand that they pay us money to pay for the repairs to the Dál Fiatach house banner. We have enough money ourselves. Let us turn the other cheek. I think that the High King is becoming very passive in the alliances that he has had to put up with. I think he's becoming very passive, and he is allowing himself to be kind of led around. What started as an ordinary feast became an exceptional one. One of our vassals, I think in Morgan, one of our new vassals in Wales. We spoke all evening about all manner of subjects, and as things would have it, we seem to have a lot in common. I had such a good time with him. What a good evening. Only now we are told that the Cumbrian band is going to head back. They've had a great old time. They did tremendous service. And as they are heading away, so too are our guests. We have to thank the wife. Well, there'll be no thanks to the wife. We are told that our glory is widely known, just as our new friend who we were talking to, and Marshall, appointed to knock him out of an independence faction. The previous Marshal, our personal champion, Muel Brazil Kunon, suggested his appointment. So he has finished. Oh Lord. He has finished bringing some part of the kingdom under control. We'll try and get Triple B's new lands back to something stable. I think we're going to keep him in Ulster until Amlib dies. And then, well, I don't think I'll even need to transfer him to Connacht when Cruhur becomes the king of Connacht and Ulster. We have Murica increasing development. Our spy master is in King Stephen's court looking for some secrets. I might bring them back again. To our court, we have a lot of illegitimate children in our court, and I would like to figure out who is actually related to who. But I think we'll leave them there for a while. Get some areas, get the control back under control, and have Murica increase development in a few regions. We do actually have a chunk of grumpy looking vassals. So while we're looking at the council, Orthacoin, I'm going to put him on domestic affairs instead for a while. And I thought I was having trouble. We've seen over the last while in Croatia that Anya, Muel Brazil's daughter, has been trying to seize control. She has succeeded. And of course, her primary heir is not a member of House Dál Fiatach, so we could be seeing a drop in the family's renown gain. By one, that's not the worst. But of course we'll probably lose a duchy as well. Damn it, Anya, would you not think of the family? The family back in Ireland. We're lucky we paid a visit over to this side of the world because our good friend the Pope had a big pile of money for us. 284 gold, I think. 286. You are too kind. Now the problem is, his health is poor, because he's baiting himself with a whip. We've had problems with that in our own court. You'd want to watch that. You'd want to watch that. You're not a young man anymore. Praise Saint Maff plays. My, how they grow up so fast. We get a pop-up that the marriage we organised between Bridget and a handsome young boy can be carried out. I don't know what the hell we're going to do with you. I really don't. Scotland has just turned into a mess. I really don't know what to do up there. We could declare war on King Stephen to take his county, which is ringed by Ireland. We could try and bring people to our court and start declaring war for random claims. Try and create the Kingdom of Scotland for ourselves, or try and seize it. I don't think we're going to be in a position to install Bridget. We'll send this proposal and we'll see what's in store for the next decade. And this is something we've been expecting with a long time. Lord Filbert is no longer your master of the horse. And we have inherited the lordship of Carmarthenshire. And we're also told that our daughter and namesake of our wife, our ex-wife, has come of age. I forget what we were educating you for. Spy mastery, intrigue. You were probably being educated. It doesn't tell us. I think she was being educated by our court spy master. And you are betrothed to the steward of the King of Castile. This is probably one of the marriages that was organised hastily during the war against England, when we were desperate for any amount of troops. We could break that off, but you know what, we won't bother. He has 1,000 troops in and of his own standing. I don't think he's going to inherit anything. Yeah. He does already have a primary heir, however. Yara, you can't say no to 1,000 troops. And now that Filbert, one of the last remaining Crusader Knights of the Kingdom, has died, I think we're only left with 4 out of the 12 who got the Crusader trait. But now that he has died, it obviously makes sense that we would replace him with Muil Brazil Kunon. This is what he has been working towards. Now the only problem is that his wife is 39, 38. I don't know if we're going to get any children. I would actually like to see a continuation of House O'Rourke. You can see there that she is a courtier of Captain Kunon. So I will bring up Captain Kunon. We will grant the title, first of all, to Bresel Conan, Muil Bresel Conan, as we call him. He becomes our vassal. He's already not entirely happy. He's our personal champion. And look at what a career he has had. He now has a fancy name for himself. He's no longer the personal champion. I was wondering would that happen. But this is what he's been pushing towards. Is prestige and power and money. Here is Captain Kunon. We allowed his mother to die in prison. As you can see, his brothers and sisters do not like us. Courtier, 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 courtier. And the wife of Lord Bresel Conon. So all the rest of them have basically left our court. And I think we've pretty much lost House Rourke. What an ending to House Rourke. The house of Leinchuk. And of course, the ironic thing is that this isn't even his son. It's one of the many illegitimate children that his wife had. We really don't know how many. We don't know who here actually is a part of House Rourke. It's confusing. We're not even going to look at that family tree. We will look at the new Lord. So he's set up a new dynasty for himself, but of course he's married matrilinearly. It'll be interesting now to see what he's going to do in the years ahead, now that he has gotten himself what a position of power and influence and prestige that this lowly, lowborn, nobody knight has achieved for himself over pretty much the last decade. Because we only dragged him in to fight in the Crusades, married him off to our mother. So fair play to you. For the role of personal champion, to keep dread decay high and prestige, we will appoint the husband of our ex-wife and court jester. And you can see his income as personal champion was 0.41 gold per month. And look at this, for a move, his income is now going to double, taking the role vacated by Filbert. So he's taken the county seat vacated by him and the role of Master of the Horse. We will appoint Kunon to that position as well. There is that alliance accepted between our daughter Fiatach and a ruler in Castile. We've had trouble with alliances down that end of the country. A nephew of ours has been taken prisoner. Not fully too sure what end of the world that is out in. The family tree must look absolutely chaotic at this stage. The poor man has been on the job for a week, and already somebody is plotting to kill our personal champion. We must stop the villain behind this. I am going to withdraw our knight to our court. We'll put him on disrupt schemes for now. And they have just discovered, actually, that Richard of Lothian, so this would be the brother of our brother-in-law, is the lover of somebody else. That looked a lot like his sister for a second. I got confused. It's useful to know. And somebody really wants our personal champion dead. I'm not too sure what the reason for that could be. We'll let things play out. We do have our spymaster on disrupt schemes, but I think what we might be doing instead is starting an investigation after his death. Our daughter and ward Martha is going down the stewardship route. Overreaching can be terribly dangerous. We'll leave her with the temperate trait. Stewardship +2, which is exactly what we want. And that's not going to be an easy court position. To replace Murica, our court poet, has died of old age. He built a cabinet for us. He was also our counsellor. I had just switched him over to increasing the stewardship in Breffni. It must have killed him. He must have had some party with Triple B. Do we have any good stewardship figures? Well, look at that. Look at that. Whale Brazil Kunon. How interesting. I think Whale Brazil Kunon would try to get back onto the council after being kicked off of it. We will assign him as our steward. And of course, he wasn't kicked off the council. He voluntarily removed himself from the council to allow one of our vassals to take his seat as marshal, which gave him... oh god. Which took him out of an independence faction. So Moel Brassel was, of course, proving himself as a loyal and faithful servant of the kingdom. Somebody who could be totally trusted as our personal champion, as a lord, and then as Master of the Horse and Steward. An alliance with Castile has ended. What's after happening? They're no longer betrothed. She is indeed described as his former wife. I'm not too sure what has happened. We will invite her back to court. but not before she has been betrothed to the grandson of the King of Galicia. There is Maria, Murica's ex-wife, and here's her 2 children. And if we check Bevan, of course, our ward, here is her mother, and here is her father / grandfather. So, not a hope in hell. Not a hope in hell. Not a hope in hell. Not a hope. I don't think he's actually within range to be called into wars or anything like that. But I do like the idea of our daughter, Fiatach, one day becoming the Duchess of Tuscany. So we will send that proposal and get you the hell away from Galicia. I don't even want to know what lunacy that incestuous pervert was planning down in Galicia. That's the last time we're going anywhere near the entire Iberian Peninsula until that king is dead. Our daughter had just returned from Spain, and we were preparing to send her out to Tuscany when we got a letter from her new father-in-law asking if we might send just a couple of 1,000 troops along with her. He is in a defensive war, which he has called us into. We have joined, and it does look as though he's going to need our troops. So we will deploy our armies to this end of the world for the first time in a very long time. We've never been here before. We passed it by. We sailed on by on the way to the Holy Land. So let's see if we can lose any more Crusader Knights. As we raise our armies and prepare to set sail, we are told that our big grumpy galoot of a son has had another son. This is his second, Patrick, from which Padraig comes, and Patrick. May you grow to be strong and wise. So a very good sign, naming him after a saint. I think we'll leave the 2 armies split. Let's see who's commanding them. I have no idea who any of you people are. I will just point out before we set sail. Now that he is a count, look at those for numbers. Lord Muel Brassel Kunon, a 46 prowess knight, so we're going to be expecting a lot of things from you. And in just a decade, the court has changed completely. Here we have basically a lot of knights. I don't even know who half of these people are. Leinchuk, or not Leinchuk, but Laura is still in there. Ulgarg. Koftuk is a new addition. There's Triple B. So we gave him a county because he had been knocked out of the knights list. I forgot that would basically knock him straight back in. And there is our... Is this our son-in-law? It is. So he'll be, once that marriage goes through, in a couple of years. So it's a completely different court. Knightly court to anything that we have had in the past. I have no idea if we have any actual siege engineers. So we will swing all the ways over. And check how much this is going to cost us. Do you know what? They're not doing too bad a job. I'd be hoping our allies will be in a position to hold on until we get out. We're losing 16 gold per month. And it's costing us, I think, 56 gold to get the armies out here. Here is Bevan. A rare display of appreciation. So Bevan is, of course, the daughter of her mother and her grandfather. We're educating her. When I need it, I expect you to be there for me too. So we get a weak hook on her. Or we grow closer to forming a relationship. I think we'll take a hook. What a tragic life poor Ulladh has had. we had so many dreams, so many plans when she was born. Our eldest child died in childbirth. The Queen Mother to the current King of Brittany. She was on the throne of Brittany as Queen for only a short period of time before her first husband died. She was then married out to a count in Göttingen. So basically married into the Holy Roman Empire, or married into one of the regions there. This family has suffered a lot of loss and chaos in the last couple of years. I don't actually even know how many children and family members I have lost at this stage. So 3 brothers are dead at the very least. 3 brothers, and now 1 child. She did not deserve this. I think it's more likely that Moel Brassel Kunon suggests to us that we should deepen our grasp of warfare. He puffs out his chest as he approaches. I might be able to help you see the battlefield in new ways. So absolutely, we want to learn. So he continues to exert power and influence over the High King, becoming our mentor. And our personal champion has died under mysterious circumstances. What bad timing, not alone our personal champion, but one of the knights that has actually set sail to land in this region. So that's a bit suspicious. So he died in the Mediterranean. We have unlocked a new lifestyle perk. We'll deal with that first of all. And what I'm pretty much thinking is just taking these 4 from the Overseer tree. So we're going to go for Hard Rule, Dread Gain plus 20%. And probably, will we get Soldiers of Fortune? We might as well, in case we need mercenaries. And then, more than likely, what we will do is come over to the Schemer tree. Especially now that we've actually set Moel Brassel Kunon as our mentor, we might as well stick with Marshal for just 1 more trait. Our Spymaster has been deployed to the court to find secrets if she can hunt down the murderer of our personal champion to replace him, Ulgarg, one of the few remaining Crusader Knights. And we can see the Irish forces finally arriving. Just in time by the looks of it. We'll send them up in this direction. We will fight this army. Try and get some war score back. They've realized that they are going to be hit. Bevan seems to be getting a better education from us than our own daughter. I think we will leave her with the ambitious trait. I don't see the High King wanting to gain too much stress in educating this child. Our forces come in piecemeal. We get them all in there. In the end up, we should knock some war score off and then be able to siege down some areas. Ulgarg has claimed a kill. Our new personal champion. And we've knocked a good chunk of the war score off of them. Murica, you said nothing about your ex-wife, Bevan's mother, who was having an incestuous relationship with her father. That was fine. You said nothing about that, but now you're accusing your wife of having an affair with her lover, a bishop. Now the problem is that she is with child. We know that the accusations are very much true. If we take this option, we will lose a level of devotion, which we are not going to go for. We're going to have her imprisoned. We might very well have her executed at some stage. The problem, of course, is that she is with child. The crime cannot go unpunished. Guards. I don't think Murica is ever going to have any children that are his own. This is the... I don't know, is this the third or fourth child? So he had 2 with his previous wife. One of them, everyone still thinks is his. It's not. There's not a hope. And he's not the father of this child either. Instead, it is the suffragan bishop. We can arrest her. We can't arrest you. Now everyone knows. And in the midst of all this, another child comes of age, another daughter, Dunla, educated in the art of intrigue, seems to have become quite skillful. They grow up so fast. Fairly good stats. We might see about trying to keep her in court, but for now, we need to actually start marching the army in some direction. I think we will send them here. I don't know what's going on anymore. I was only joking there, I think it was 2 episodes back, about drinking heavily, but I'm thinking about starting. I can see why Amlib is drinking heavily. Our son, Crusader, murdered our personal champion. Why? Not only cruel and heartless, but dishonourable. So we learn of his murder secret. I don't really know what we could do with him. I don't really know what we can do with you. He's wrathful. Was there some slight against him? Is he angry at the way we are treating his stepmother? I have a feeling he's going to be quite an angry and vengeful ruler, because that's actually his other trait, if I'm correct. Wrathful. And paranoid. He may have become paranoid, especially with Una's ties to Scotland, and the breakup of his marriage to Bridget, or the dissolution of that marriage. I have no idea why he acted in that way. I'm not too sure what we can do about it. Probably not best to have the heir to the kingdom of Connacht executed, because that's going to cause havoc. I've split the army in 2 where they were split when we sent them in, so I've divided them between these 2 regions. We'll see if we can get a better siege master down here. We have no better siege masters, but what a great and glorious day. Adric of England, who had 10,000 troops at last count, has died. His dynasty has lost control of England. It has gone back into the hands of the Godwins. If I am correct, this is the Duke of Kent. There we are. Allied with Mercia in its war against us, and then with Turfrith in his war against us. And the succession at the moment is going to Northumbria. So this is a character and a family that we have had no dealings with to date. But then again, the king is quite young at the moment. But 5,000 troops knocked off of what he is able to put together, that most certainly takes the pressure off of us. Considering we're not making much progress with this siege, what I think we will do, because it doesn't have the mangonels, they'd be attached to the other unit, and we have no siege commanders, I think we will begin to move these guys out. These forces, I have a feeling, are going to come in against our allies. They are indeed, so we will send these guys after them. Can we get them up into a region where we won't suffer casualties? Our sister Muirin has died of heart failure, and we have discovered battlements, which is going to allow us to be able to keep Muirin, of course, the poor thing. Another tragic figure. Her brother Seachnasach died of cancer. Her How many marriages was she involved in? So her first husband was murdered. And of course, yes, this was who we were attempting to place on the Duchy of Gwynedd. I believe she was the Duchess of Gwynedd for a period of time. And here was another claimant. Their daughter. That seems like another age with all that has happened. That seems like another age. She left our ability to interact with her. So I was hoping to try and maybe bring her back and reinstall her in Gwynedd, but this is one of the reasons why we accepted that war to take Dehybert. That started off a tremendous amount of chaos. So Muireann has passed away. And we should be able to bring this army in time to save our allies. Moraid, Mark Gilchrist, has passed away as well. Let's see, what did you die from? Old age. A rare honour in the kingdom at this stage. We've taken Rambaldo's son and heir hostage. And we've turned the war score around. We've taken a holding. We've won a siege. Do we get money? That's all I'm here for, is money. Because if we don't have enough money, we're not getting home. The Pope will not allow our brother to get a divorce. This would be his second divorce, the poor man. Because he doesn't like us, because we asked for gold. Don't be like that. So what we're going to do is start a scheme to sway him. Not looking very successful. Minus 50 because he's our head of faith. We'll start it anyway and we'll see what we can do. Oh, those Welsh. I think it's the Welsh that are destroying the kingdom. Here is the deposed ruler of Dehybert. We took the duchy off him. Cain's son, basically. And he is the lover of Arthur's wife. I'm getting so confused. Arthur, we were going to give him the royal architect position. I'll probably do that at some stage. But until we actually get back home, we will forget about that. We've lost a ton of war score, which I'm delighted with, actually, because we ransomed out a baby. So that means we can siege down more places, and one of our knights has died from his wounds, died of his internal injuries. This was one of the knights that we recruited in the aftermath of our return from, not from the Crusades, but from the desperate attempts to repopulate the army after the massive wars in England. I think it was just before we brought the war with Mercia to a conclusion, and before we dealt with the war against Turfrith, pausing very quickly because we are seeing a hostile army wandering in. If they hit our army here, we'll have to lift the siege and bring them up. I'm not too sure what direction they're going in. They are indeed. Well, that's a bit of a pity. William, or Ulliam, has been wounded. I have no idea what these guys are coming in against us for. And in this trying time, Bridget, possibly having built up a friendship or a relationship with Crusader, is coming to talk to us about his recent actions in murdering our personal champion. We lose some stress. So building a bit of a friendship with Bridget. Maybe she's stressed as well. Maybe she's kind of glad that she doesn't have to rule as Queen of Scotland anymore. We're just going to keep the armies together. We're going to siege down this one area because we do see some large troops coming up against us. Now, this is alarming. This is alarming. Our vassal, Earl Muelvera, has taken Cailleach Fineen Uí Néill as a lover. This is, of course, the woman that murdered our brother. Now, when we got that pop-up that she had murdered him, what I did was I clicked murder scheme. And then I thought, would Amlib do this? Is he not Cam? So I cancelled it. And that's our problem. We can't reactivate that scheme now for another 4 years. As soon as we can reactivate that scheme, we are going to do so. Because yes, he's Cam. However, I am wielding in my hand a Guide to Early Irish Law by Fergus Kelly, one of the most important modern texts in discussing Brehon law, what is effectively Brehon law. And I have a bookmark in the section on offences, illegal killing. So under Brehon law, what would happen is that, and I've gone through this before, is basically all crimes, including murder, could be, I won't say forgiven, but the penalty was money, compensation, to be paid to the family. The one of the main fines, I'm reading this now from the book, is based on the honour price of the victim's kin. So to calculate the price that Cailleach Fineen would owe to us, you would calculate the honour price of the victim's family. So he is the son of a High King of Ireland. This is Dianartach. He is the brother of a High King of Ireland. He was the husband of the Queen of Scotland and father to the Queen of Scotland and son-in-law to the King of Sweden. So you would calculate the fine based on the honour price of the victim's kin, predominantly his father's kin, and this would be then distributed among both his paternal and maternal kin. So you would calculate a fine, and then this would be paid to members of his family, and it's a big convoluted process. This is the part that I want to focus on. It's the responsibility of the perpetrator's family, basically, to pay the fine. The entire family is fined. But there may be occasions when the kin is reluctant or unable to pay for a killing by one of its members. In such circumstances, the victim's family can hold the killer captive until such a time as payment is made, either by the killer's family or another party, or may put the person to death or sell them into slavery. So what should happen is Cailleach Fineen's family should pay for her crime. Otherwise, we are allowed to imprison her and hold her in prison until her family puts up the money, until another party puts up the money and basically makes her their servant, so we would effectively sell her back to them, or we can execute her. If a non-paying killer is at large, the victim's kinsmen are obliged to carry out a blood feud to exact vengeance on behalf of the dead man. If the victim was a lord, his base clients must also join in the vengeance party. As in Welsh law, this blood feud clearly has legal standing. So there you go. I bet you didn't think you were going to get a Brehon law lesson today. I think there's some really interesting stuff there that could be maybe worked into the game. If a member of your family is killed, you are, or should be, obliged to kill the killer. And you maybe suffer a prestige penalty for as long as somebody is at large who killed a close member of your family. It mightn't entirely cover death in battle. Fergus Kelly states that actually the next sentence after the one that I stopped at there is that when a peace treaty has been formed between two Thuha, so kind of neighbouring regions, that for a month after that peace treaty, vendetta parties are allowed to cross back and forth. That might be to gain vengeance for deaths in battle. So that'd be something that'd be interesting to try and work into the game. We've been talking about a Brehon law trait that you could add to the cultures. So a Brehon law tradition. At this stage, the Brehon law tradition is going to be about 5 pages long. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I want to murder this person. I thought it was maybe against Amlib's character. However, if we go back into the depths of Irish history and legal laws, we can find justification. We're going to murder this person. We're probably going to murder this guy as well if he is Now, her lover, we will probably murder Liam, because Liam didn't hand her over. He's her husband, and he should take her hostage and pay the penalty to us. Instead, he is facilitating her escape from justice. Boys, oh boys, there's going to be murders. If we can get a hook on her, we'll bring her to our court. And we will bring her to our court. We have a chance to imprison her again, because she's actually... Is she now in our court at all? Isn't one of my vassals, is it? It is. You made a terrible mistake coming back to my court. Very quickly going to take a look at some of the battles that have been fought in this region of late. Kunon, 76 kills. We had a superior, vastly superior force in that case. Kunon also killing one of their high-ranking knights. One of our allies' knights killed Dietrich, and then, of course, Ulgarg got a kill, so I think this is one of the earlier battles. And just then, a hostile army wandering in against us. Kunon, 74 kills, absolutely gargantuan numbers for what is probably now the greatest knight ever to serve the kingdom. We've gotten a hook on Muel Vera. We'll see if we can use that to help us in our plot to get revenge and enforce Brehon law, the most important thing. While we're waiting for this area to be sieged down, Muel Kunon is going to challenge us to a mock battle. We will prepare the ranks. 54% chance of victory. Our attempts to bring up Bevan have been a great success. Our attempts to bring up our own daughter, not so much. She's being bullied, I think. And I think we're going to keep the Craven trait. It's the only one that doesn't affect her stewardship, which is what she's been educated in. I don't like it. I'd nearly go for arbitrary, but that is going to give, I think, a -2 to stewardship. Yeah. So we will leave her with the Craven trait. Just hide. Do not seek trouble. Kunon helps us up out of the mud. We have not succeeded. Show me again how it is you do. Show me again how it is you do. I think the High King took a bit of a knock to the head. We're going to try to siege down this region and then get across and prevent our opponents from lifting our siege of that area. Arthur knows that he is going to be made Royal Architect at some stage. He's maybe coming to encourage us a bit to appoint him quickly. He kneels in deference. Gives us 50 quid, badly needed for the war effort. We get some court grandeur and some prestige. And we're hovering between the level 7 and level 8 court grandeur. Back and forth. We've also constructed the beginnings of a castle in Bangor. We have a couple of different options with what we could do with that. We could bestow it on a member of the family. We could bestow it on a knight. Or we could possibly look to setting up a holy order. The Queen of Croatia, I believe, has been taken hostage. She's left the prison and she's still the Queen of Croatia. We'll have to check what's going on down there. With Arthur's visit to our court, we're given the option of starting or continuing another dynasty legacy. We're hopping back and forth between all of these various different things. Personal scheme power plus 25, monthly diplomacy. Maybe not going to be the most useful to us. Title creation cost, not much use. Control growth, that could be helpful. And there's the stewardship lifestyle experience. That would be very beneficial if we had another stewardship figure coming up. It doesn't look like we will have one. Crahur is going to be learning based. But I think for the specific individual that we have, natural dread plus 15, dread gain plus 20%. This shows you again the mindset that Amlib is in at this exact moment in time. Our brother's wife has had a child that isn't his. We will ransom the baby out. We're rushing across to lift that siege. The troops are trying to get out. They have failed to do so. We've managed to catch them. That hostile army has came back again. I'm not too sure what they're actually doing. Our spy master is telling us that they have found no more secrets. You found our personal champion's murderer, and you know what? I nearly wish you didn't. You know what is best. Go back to disrupting schemes. We've ransomed out our brother's wife's child. The one that she had in prison for a tenner. As in, we've ransomed the child for a tenner. She didn't have the child for a tenner. I'm not too sure what we're going to do with her. I'm thinking, because I'm kind of pissed off with these guys for hitting us. Let's go back up and hit them again. They're hostile to us. There was no need for them to come in against us. Let's go up and give them a baiting. And here was maybe a bit of a mistake on our side. Now, we've sent in our army, but there's actually more hostile troops up in this direction. Morgan, one of our vassals, is injured. He's one of our Republican vassals in Wales. He's been very badly injured. He's actually commanding the army here. Kolftuk was wounded. I'm hoping our allies are coming up. We're actually seeing... Did we see 4,000 troops in there at one stage? I think we might get out of this region and try to stay away from whatever Bruges is doing. At least I think it's Bruges. We will head down to here, see if we can siege this area. They're hardly going to come in against us, are they? We received notification from the new King of England, who fought 2 wars against us, that he has been asked to support our Duke Anwin in a plot against us. Now, even if Anwin is plotting against us, in less than 2 years, there will be a marriage between him and our daughter, so that will knock him out of any independence faction shenanigans. So while we might be paranoid, we are going to say that our vassals have my support. We can see there just behind the Bane of Iceland is a nun talking to our former wife Anla. And she has an artist inspiration to build a box. Who does not want a box? Maybe this box, if we put it in the middle of the court, it'll bring Pangardov back to us. If you think about it, the kingdom has been on a constant downward trajectory since we lost Pangardov, since we gave Pangardov away to our wife, or to our mother, because our wife was giving out about it. We should never have chosen our wife over Pangardov. It's the biggest regret that I have through this playthrough. We will sponsor that inspiration and pray that it will bring Pangardov back to us. The joys of wine. The joys of wine bring nothing but pain and misery to us from all that red stress markers in the corner. The bishop is telling us that wine opens the door for Satan. Somebody else is saying that it keeps the humours balanced. If we take either of those, we're going to suffer tremendous stress. It doesn't really make sense that we would take abstaining from wine. Probably doesn't make sense drinking in moderation either. We're gonna throw back as much alcohol as we can consume and lose opinion with a lot of people. The devil, it's too good for you. The King of Galicia has died from his wounds. God only knows what wars are being fought by that depraved devil. I'd know where he is and I don't care. So Bevan receives the terrible news that her father and grandfather has died. That's him there. We have an inspiration option. We could honour some people. We will obviously say that dedications are overrated. We will take the 100 piety. But secretly, we know that this box is dedicated to Pangardov. Our allies kept chasing the enemy forces into the mountains, and they have gained 100% war score. What do we get from this? 15 prestige. Nice. Cailleach Fineen thought that she had everything planned out to perfection. The murder of our brother and her escape to Scotland. So overconfident was she that she basically returned to our court, or remained hiding there, but took as a lover the Earl of Atholl, a respectable man, a godly man, a man who would be destroyed by allegations if they were to be made public. So basically, she is now facing a letter telling her that we will reveal the secret and destroy this man's reputation unless she hands herself over to face justice. So we're going to blackmail her. There's a 82% chance that she will accept, and if she does, that will give us a hook that will allow us to imprison her and execute her. While we're waiting for that hook to come in, we can see that the Pope is getting closer to accepting the idea of a divorce between our brother and the Countess of Gwent. I think what we'll do is carry out that divorce, so we'll wait for that, carry out the divorce, and then strip her of the county. I was going to then give the county to Murica. The problem is that his eldest son is not his eldest son. Here is his eldest son's mother, Maria. And here is Bevan, that was being passed off as a member of our family as well for a while. Bevan, of course, the daughter of her mother and grandfather. So, yeah, no. Sorry, Murica, we're gonna have to try and find another marriage for you at some stage. We'll wait for that divorce to come true. We'll strip her of her lands. We'll give them out to somebody, maybe a knight, who knows. Anybody'll be better than who has it at the moment. Even with the strong hook that our blackmail on Cailleach Fineen grants to us, it's still not certain that we'll be able to capture her. I think we failed already on a 60% chance, so this is only a 44% chance. A part of that is due to our intrigue, which isn't exactly the greatest, and this is possibly another reason why Umleib might be considering going down the intrigue focus. But we are 3 years out from being able to plot to murder her, set up a vendetta. So this is going to be weighing on Umleib's mind. There's no point in attempting to fire this and trying to imprison her, because I don't think it'll succeed. And instead it will just make it even harder for us to do anything, so we will have to sit back. We will have to plot and scheme and wait for an opportunity to take our revenge. I was going to say, slowly but surely normalcy returns to the Kingdom of Ireland. This is far from normal. This is far from normal. The family upheaval that we have, trying to find a wife for our brother that won't cheat on him, trying to figure out why our son Crahur murdered our personal champion, trying to get revenge on a witch doctor for murdering another one of our brothers, trying to enjoy a wedding without needing to wage a war at the same time. Things have stabilised. We've gotten some solid alliances together. England is temporarily weakened. The new king has already added 1,000 troops. He's up to 6,000. There is, of course, a big chunk of England stabbing into Wales that shouldn't be there, and that is something that we will want to deal with at some stage. We still have no idea what to do with Scotland. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Thank you for drinking heavily with myself and my spymaster when we had that chance there, and enjoying all that wine. And I hope that you will join me on the next episode when we will begin with a royal court.